A growing number of account takeovers on social media indicates that cyber attackers are targeting brands. And if they take over your social media account, they can become the mouthpiece of your brand. For Tech Republic and ZDNet, my name is Dan Patterson with ZeroFox CTO Mike Price. Mike, I wonder if you can explain to me a little bit about what an account takeover is and how does this type of cyber attack happen?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. What we're seeing, increasingly, especially over the last couple of years, is that hackers, so to speak, have taken strong interest in taking over social media profiles and pages for a variety of different reasons, really. And so we've seen accounts that belong to sort of the average person, the average consumer taken over. We've seen accounts that belong to businesses taken over, and even to government organizations. And a lot of the time this can be done in order for the account to be perhaps resold, in different ways, or so that groups that have a particular agenda might be able to get their message out amongst, a variety of other motivations.
And how does this type of attack happen? Is it due to bad passwords? Is it due to bad security on the social media side?
So oftentimes, the social networks have done a pretty good job of providing mechanisms for people to use in order to secure their accounts. But some users have a hard time learning how to use those mechanisms properly. And so there are a lot of people that maybe don't use strong passwords or don't use two-factor authentication, for example. And they may even have had their passwords leaked in a breach in the past. And so if they're reusing their passwords in more than one place, oftentimes we see those stolen passwords used to hack accounts, for example. So the security mechanisms are there, but they're not always used properly or effectively used yet. So.
And who are the actors targeting social media accounts? Are they state actors? Are they organized crime? Are they lone wolves, or a combination?
Yes, definitely a combination. There's a lot of public examples, right? When an account's taken over, the whole world gets to see that oftentimes. And so there are definitely very large numbers of accounts belonging to sort of the average folks out there that are being taken over and used as part of botnets, for example, or being used as part of roll-up of accounts so that it can be resold later. So in this case, then you might have the average cyber criminal doing something like this. There are folks that are hacking accounts really just for the fame. And so we see folks taking over accounts just sort of for bragging rights, right? And then there are clear cases where we've seen, either nation state actors or sort of like, actors that are in that space, for example, taking over accounts to, publish their ideology, for example. So there's a pretty significant mix of all different types of threat actors, doing this type of stuff.
And how does this happen at large scale? I can understand a one-to-one or a fairly linear relationship, but it must require some sort of expertise to take over hundreds or thousands of accounts at large scale.
Yeah, one of the things that we've observed the most is that in terms of scale, right, a lot of people have the habit of using credentials to log into their accounts. And they share those credentials across many accounts. And then when some service that they use gets breached and the total user database is stolen, right, then those passwords become available to sort of the underground, so to speak. And so then what a threat actor can do or a hacker can do is basically take a database of emails and passwords and then find the accounts on different social networks in different places that are using those same emails and passwords and kind of take accounts over in bulk. There's, to a degree, some automation that can be built out and employed in that process as well. So, we've seen a variety of techniques like that. There's also some phishing infrastructure that's been built out that allows folks to phish users at scale for their social media credentials in order to then, take over their accounts. So there's a variety of kind of scaling techniques in that regard.
And what can brands do, be they SMB, startups, or enterprise companies, to protect themselves from attacks like this?
Yeah, the advice that I always give folks is, first and foremost, to recognize that the risk is real. That's the first step. And then once you recognize that the risk is real, you need to have a plan to protect your accounts and to be prepared in the event that something that happens. And so you need to have, like most organizations, a bit of a program, a bit of a policy, and then you need to have the right kind of manual and technical tools in place so that you prevent it from happening. But if by some chance, you know, it does happen, you know exactly what to do and how to recover quickly. So there are some materials that you can, you know, read and be informed by, and there are some, you know, services and products that you can purchase that help with that as well. So.